I'm Ramzi, the loud one.
I'm Jesse, the short one.
Put us both into one, we are.
Lots of noise, always too fast, lots of laughs. Here's our podcast, the loud and short of it. Hi, and welcome to the loud and short of it.
I'm Ramzi, the loud one.
And I'm Jesse, the short one.
And this week we have our monthly movie review for November, where we are covering the Patron Saint of Austin, Matthew McConaughey.
Our boy, our local boy.
Such a fucking hero.
Did he make a bunch of money in Hollywood? Yes.
Yeah.
Did he choose to move there? Fuck no.
No,
He
stays
stayed in
here.
the beautiful city of Austin.
He stayed home.
So we picked two of his movies. One, just famously, probably one of his top three most famous movies ever.
Yep.
If not number one. And then we picked a weird one that I had never heard of until Ramzi was like, what if we watched a movie about dragons, though?
Let me tell you how this went down. Jesse was like, all right, so what are Matthew McConaughey movies? And I was just like, Rain of Fire of Interstellar, I'm out. And he was like, yeah, okay.
So we're doing Interstellar and Rain of Fire.
Yep.
Which one do you want to start with?
Rain of Fire.
We're start off with the on the ground. We'll start grounded on this.
Yeah.
Let's get into the boring numbers,
Okay.
as we always do. Critics, 42%.
Insane.
Not off to a good start.
Insane.
Audience, 49.
Half the population is stupid, so I'm okay with that.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna join that. I'm gonna hit it a hard 50 right in the middle. I'm giving it. I want to just stick with the audience, but I love Maddie, so I'm gonna give it one extra point.
Okay. 50% of this podcast is stupid. I give it a flat 80.
Sounded like you were gonna start with a 60.
I was gonna say 70. I was like 75. I was like, no, Matthew McConaughey is too good in this movie. I'll give it an 80.
Okay, let's get through all the boring stuff. It
Yeah.
made 82 million worldwide, which was not good. Very very bad. It made 15 million its opening weekend, and its budget before advertising and all that was 60 million. So maybe this broke even.
You think this fucking? Oh, I don't know. Like Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale weren't like
Huge.
heavy hitters yet. I think like part of the reason this movie didn't do super well because it came out like right next to Lord of the Rings, and people were like, it's already
dragons.
Yeah, it already kind of has dragons. We're good.
I think that's not the only reason this movie didn't do that well, no matter how much you like it.
I can't wait to get into our takes.
More interesting facts. Christian Bale is the main character of this movie.
Yep.
And
Quinn.
Yeah, Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was preparing for this movie, he was like post-apocalyptic. There's no food. There's barely water.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously need to get super skinny and tiny so that I fit the vibe. And then he showed up for the first day of filming, and Matthew McConaughey was just shredded beyond belief. So he switched and looks like Batman in the fucking movie, which doesn't make any sense.
I really do love the movie because there's one part like way late in the movie where Christian Bale's shirtless for not a huge reason, and I was like, he's fucking more cut than Matthew McConaughey is. It's very impressive.
Yeah, no kidding. But made no sense how he did that. He must have been hoarding the food while the children were starving.
This dude's taking whey protein and doing curls in like the furnace room.
And then Matt, our loving boy, he apparently, this was all filmed in Ireland and like a small local area because obviously it's like out in the hills where nobody lives. And he demanded that everybody on set had to refer to him as Van Zam the entire time. When they were filming, when they weren't filming, and when they met up at like the pub, like at the local town near where they were filming.
What the fuck?
We're not allowed to refer to him as McConaughey or Matt. He had to be Van Zam.
He was from, oh my God. He was probably just because he looks so different than he normally does in movies. He was probably just like, I'm going under the radar this time. Call me Van Zam.
No one will know it's me.
Yeah, we were fucking talking about the movie, and I remember you said that like, yeah, it was like a British movie, so we're like, well, was Matthew McConaughey gonna be British? And Matthew McConaughey shows up in a tank, and they're like, oh, Americans. He's like, hi, I'm with the Kentucky Regulars. And I was like, dude, fuck yeah.
This makes the second movie I've seen with Matthew McConaughey in Britain, where both times he's just like, they're like, nope, he's American.
Yeah, that's true.
He's also in The Gentleman and should have been British with everyone else, and they were like, no, he's not.
Yeah,
just
like,
him, though.
They're like, one Texan in this Guy Ritchie movie, who cares?
That's it for interesting facts. There's not a lot to look up for this movie, probably because it wasn't well received by critics or fans or anybody.
Not a big movie, I've learned. When I was a kid, I remember my dad was like, he's like, hey, son, you want to watch this movie? And I was like, no. And he was like, it's got dragons. Like, okay. And he's like, it has the guy from Sahara. I was like, okay. It has Batman. I was like, okay. And I was in love with it ever since.
There's a lot of those movies that you watch as a kid, and you were
Yeah.
like, it's like formative somewhat, and then you find out that was just like some shitty low budget movie you had no one else cares about.
That's how fucking Sahara was too. Watching these movies with my friends are so fun because they're like, this is ass. I'm like, no, this is the best. This is the best film has to offer.
And I got one more thing in interesting facts.
Really?
This movie takes place in 2020, like the 75% of it that takes place after the exposition.
Yeah.
And I just like to state that our 2020, the real one,
Yeah.
much worse than the canon
Exponentially.
2020.
I would rather be starving and shredded and have to fight dragons than have to sit in a house with you.
At least with dragons, you can go out and fight them. With COVID, you just have to hide. There's no other option.
It was so funny because Matthew McConaughey is just like, they're in the sky. And I'm just like, Corona's kind of in the sky.
They also wear masks at certain points in this movie when they go out, and it's all ashy, and I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you.
God damn it.
Take them all. Okay, ready to get into takes?
Oh,
kind of already hit it.
Super ready.
You love this because you watched it as a child,
Yep.
and there's no other reason.
I love this movie, and I think that this is a decent movie. At no point when I was watching this movie was I like, no, that's stupid. I was like, all right, there's dragons, it's modern day, they're in a farm, and then things happen, and they're like, Kentucky people are here because they're trying to find the dad dragon.
And for
I was
some
like,
reason, a plane was flying over the Pacific and
Yeah.
it crashed in Ireland.
they explained it, kinda. They did.
They explained it my ass.
All I could say is that whenever Matthew McConaughey showed, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I was like, they needed Matthew McConaughey to get here. I'll excuse the plane crash. And then cool stuff kept happening. I was like, yeah, I just don't fucking care that this doesn't make sense.
If you go into this movie as like, this is a fun movie,
Yeah.
it's I would raise my score. But I was going into it, not expecting anything and just being like, what
Really?
kind of movie is this? It's dog shit.
Really?
It's fun because the dragons look very good for when this came out.
Yeah.
The characters are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And like fun and exciting, and you're like, heroes, cool shit,
Yeah.
explosions, dude stuff.
Yeah.
But let me put it this way: they could have taken every line out other than when Matthew McConaughey says cool stuff, and I would have given it the same score. I would have been like, I don't care about any of these characters. I don't give a
Really?
fuck what's going on.
I like
Just
Christian
show
Bale.
me
I thought it
more.
was all cool. I was like, yeah, he's like taking care of it, and then like this military dude shows up and he's talking about cool cowboy stuff. This British dude's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like
Matt's a
completely clueless.
fucking nightmare.
Dude,
You say he's talking
let
about
me-
cowboy stuff. He is a fucking
Dude,
bad person.
He is a monster. The best shit ever is because when he first shows up, he's really not that bad of a dude. He's just, well, he kind of is because he threatens
He's
him.
lying the whole time.
Yeah, but he's like, oh yeah, you know, telling the story about how townsfolk rose up against like outlaws back in the day, and then
Yeah.
he's like, we're the townsfolk, and we're gonna get rid of these dragon outlaws. Christian Bale's like, yeah, okay, and then later in the movie, he's like, all right, we gotta go fight the dragons. He's like, volunteers. And people volunteer, and he goes, now the volunteering section is over. It's time for the draft, and he grabs child soldiers and puts them in a
Who
truck. to
all
fight-
die, and then because of his
Like
terrible
5 minutes
planning,
later.
65 more men die.
Yeah.
And then the children are left to starve.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're like, so am I supposed to like Matt?
He's the bad guy in the movie, and then he ends
Also,
up okay.
It makes me sad that Matt can't pull off the bald look.
I think you're wrong. I think
You
he
think
looks
he
cool
looked
as
okay?
shit. He's not like is this his hottest? No, but like he looked like a badass military guy.
I didn't get that. I got that he looked
Really?
like a deranged Mad Max meth head.
I mean, yeah, kind of. It's like he looks like a bad guy in Mad Max. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
not hot, and I like when Matthew McConaughey is
I
hot.
don't care. I need him to look cool. He's got a cool Viking beard and axe, and he's bald. And I was like, yeah, that's my Matt.
This movie, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it because a lot of the memes you see with Matthew McConaughey make a lot more sense afterwards.
That's very
'Cause
true.
I always had seen him. It's like, when was Matt bald?
Yeah.
And then he's at one point he jumps off a water tower with an axe and
Yeah.
flies like 30 feet in a straight line.
Straight into a dragon's mouth.
Yeah, and just dies instantly.
Yeah.
I was always like, what the fuck is that from?
I remember it was so fun watching this movie when I was a kid because Matthew McConaughey was obviously my favorite character. I was like, yeah, this guy's a badass. And now I'm an adult and I'm like, No, I like Christian Bale because he's just kind of a dad.
Oh,
he's just
dealing with assholes the whole movie.
Yeah,
it starts off, and it's not the dragons that are causing him problems.
Yeah.
It's just people are pieces of shit.
Everyone around him is a fucking moron except for his like adopted son, and then his like best friend. At one point, his best friend dies, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck to do, and that's when Matthew McConaughey starts taking child soldiers from the camp. The man goes through it, but dragons are cool. They shoot crossbows at the dragons.
I'll give it all the cool stuff. Here's my big beefs that I forgot I wrote down. Weird pacing. Just it like lulls, and then you're like tons of stuff. Lull again, and you're like, you can skip all the lulls. Just show me the fights.
Yeah.
The traveling. Maddie
I can't do this.
Maddie takes 8 tanks to London.
Yeah.
With like 300 soldiers, some of which didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
They all get torched except for Maddie. He lives. Maddie and his girlfriend. They're the only people that live out of the 300 people that were there. And then after driving the tanks there, they walk back and get back there in like one day. And it's like Game of Thrones level of like, this is Europe. Somehow they can travel hundreds of miles whenever they want.
I don't know if it's just me. I've never fucking cared about that shit in movies. Like, even in Game of Thrones, when everyone was like, why are they traveling so fast? I was like, dude, who fucking cares?
I'd say, like normally,
magic.
It never bothers me when, like, the day shifts around and, like, small stuff like that. But when they're like, we need to head to London, and they drive there in a car, and then they somehow get back on foot in the same time span, I'm like, you gotta, like, somebody in the writing room had to be like, we shouldn't do this.
Like, how fast are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the...
Especially, how can you not be bothered by that when your favorite movie's The Lord of the Rings, which specifically don't do that? They have, like, entire walking sequences.
I see where you're coming from, and I have to be honest with you. If it did do that, I fucking would not care. That's my grand defense. I do agree with you. It's to normal people who critically think sometimes. Yes, that I can see how it can be frustrating.
Also,
but
if they gave, like, if Maddie walked and talked to his girlfriend and they made him, like, anything but a deranged general that's just willing to murder children, it'd be like, oh, okay, I see where he's coming from. He has a backstory, but they just don't give anything at all.
He literally, the entire point of the movie is that there's one male dragon on Earth. And that Matthew McConaughey is hunting him down. Because he, at one point, my funniest part of the movie, he's like, let me tell you ever seen a female one? Christian Bale's like, I think look at their fucking genitalia. And then he's like, okay. And then that's the whole point, is like they're trying to find the male one, and like Christian Bale saw it when he was a kid or something.
Yeah.
And then they go back and Matthew
killed his mommy.
Yeah.
Which no one cared. It was just so weird.
Bro, at the end he has the crossbow, he's aiming at the dragon. I had to put the line in myself. I was like, this is for me mom. And he fucking shoots her. Or shoots her, and I was like, damn.
I'm gonna say at the end of the movie, the 3 biggest characters are all there, and I thought they were all gonna get it, and I was just like, I just don't care. Like that's my last complaint, is like every character was like, you're dispensable. I don't give a fuck.
The end of the movie is like, it just falls apart completely, because you're just like, they're like, yeah, you shoot rocket arrows at it, and I was like, dude, you were like jumping out of airplanes.
They one hit the big, and this dragon is 8 times the size of a normal dragon.
Yeah,
and the entire explanation is that in the sewers 2 minutes before they fight it, Maddie's like, I got these big arrows with carbide tips.
Yeah,
it'll blow up.
He's like, they're strapped in C4, and then he like shoots his and he misses, and then he gets his axe and dives at the dragon and gets murdered. And I was like, all right, I love the concept, and I feel like this could have been an awesome fucking franchise.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all. Dragons in modern day sounds super cool. Because there is, and this is another part of the cool factor, that the only thing this movie has, is that the whole time Christian Bale is using like a World War II rifle. Yeah. And Matt is like showing up with M16s and tanks and shit. Yeah. And then at some point he rides a horse while Matt's in a tank, and you're like,
so
this is the coolest combination of like 40s weaponry and modern day weaponry against dragons. I was like,
and they also don't like fight the dragons, and like that first part when they fight the first dragon, it's not like stupid. Like they put down like satellite imaging shit, which is kind of corny, but it makes sense. And then he's like, now lead the dragon over this hill where I have a gun position and I have one shot to kill it. And Christian Bale rides over the hill with a fucking horse, and Matthew McConaughey shoots the dragon and kills it. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then at the end of the movie, they're like, I have rocket launcher arrows. Let's fucking kill this bitch. I was like, okay.
using a crossbow.
Yeah, it's like, this is still badass, but you see how well and cool this worked in the beginning?
I'll give it weird and cool. That's gonna be that's why I got a 50.
That's what the movie is to me, man. I still love it just because it does have a bunch. It also has like a bunch of like cool badass lines where
yeah.
I don't know.
Got an 80s action vibe, so it's right up your alley.
It's perfect for me. Love it.
Okay, you ready to get into a little bit more of a critically acclaimed one?
Let's get into argue with my favorite movie ever. We just watched this before we started, so I'm still horny for it.
We're fresh.
Interstellar.
Yep.
Let's run through the boring fucking numbers.
Okay.
All right, critics, this is insane. 72%.
That does seem low.
It does not
remember
make
it being
sense.
received better than that when it came out.
Yeah, this was a movie I thought everyone was like, guck, and apparently it was just me.
Twice
Audience
in a row this month.
Yeah. Audience, 86%.
The people know what's right.
Yeah, it's even then that feels low. I feel like I never talked to a person who didn't like that movie. That's anecdotal evidence.
3 hours long. It's 3 hours long. But
that's facts. Yeah.
Right, if you don't lose 14% of the population when you make something that long.
Yeah, that's fair. I also movies like this need an intermission. We'll get into that in a second.
Mm.
Now, the last number, Jesse's score.
Oh yeah, my score. I'm gonna give it. I agreed with the audience last time, so I'm gonna have to go different. I'm gonna give it an 82.
What?
Let me go a little lower than the audience.
You're a monster.
I don't dislike this movie.
Yeah, but it's perfect though. There's not a bad thing.
You're gonna give this one another 100?
What was the last one I gave 100 to?
I can't even remember.
100% to my top 3 movies of all time. Interstellar. 100%.
100%.
Fucking flawless in my mind.
I've got some flaws to point out, but I'll let you get to the rest of the
ignore
numbers.
him. I don't give a shit. Made $829 million worldwide.
That's a little bit more than Reign of Fire made.
It's hot.
I think Maddie's career had taken off just a little better.
Just a tiny bit more. Made $82.9 million opening weekend.
If you need a reminder, that's the same amount that Reign of Fire made for the entire time.
And they didn't have Christian Bale to back him up. The budget was $165 million. Does not include marketing, I imagine. So, it made its money back, though. And then some. Now for the fun facts.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Now I'm sure that if you're a big movie nerd and you love Christopher Nolan.
Are you going to get too sciencey with
no,
these facts?
I literally don't care about science. I never have. Anyway, so the main scientist behind this movie. No, I'm kidding. The cornfield scene, which is like, in the beginning they had all the corn.
Wait,
in the beginning.
When they say cornfield?
Yeah.
Dude, I've never put that together. It's a field of corn.
It was a field of corn.
You see, I'm such a city slicker.
Yeah.
Never been out.
You're 50% of the population who's dirt dumb.
Never been out to them fields of corn.
Anyway, so Christopher Nolan actually grew 500 acres of corn for this movie. I swear to God, like all that's real. All the corn in the movie was real. He grew 500 acres of corn.
I'm the host, and I don't trust you. Viewers, Google it. Don't trust it.
Do you know how he learned to do that?
How?
From Man of Steel. When he made Man of Steel, there was a fuckload of corn because Clark Kent's from Smallville.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Nice.
But and they actually sold it after the movie. I swear this is true. They sold the corn after the movie, and he made a profit off of it.
Wow. So he's done it twice now?
He farmed and sold. He's a Renaissance man.
Paid somebody else to farm and sell it?
No, he did it himself. I like to think.
Individually planted each piece of corn, no machinery. The old school.
But I gotta say, like, as far as practical effects, this is the craziest shit I've ever heard. There must have been I guess he drives through it. Farmers aren't like.
Nolan's also blown up 2 real planes, right? Or is that somebody else?
I mean, in movies?
Yes.
I don't think. Yeah, he has like insane practical effects.
Yeah,
but just absurd. Like for setting, this is the weirdest one I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Now go on to the next fact. This has the most IMAX footage of like any movie ever. I think this is still true, but from when I read it, because you remember we were just having the fucking conversation in the living room. Jess's girlfriend was like, "Why does the aspect ratio keep changing? It's annoying." And I was like, "Well, you see, IMAX film is just a little different, and then it takes up the whole screen, and then it goes back to the Alexa camera, and then it takes up 16:9.
See, he's not just an audio bitch. He also knows all the video bitch stuff too.
Dude, I was the proto film nerd in high school. But it's fucking insane because I looked it up. Apparently, these IMAX cameras cost like $16K per hour or some shit.
Jesus Christ.
Just to run it. And like the reason, like you have to ADR everything because IMAX cameras are fucking huge and they make a ton of noise. So like when all those IMAX shots inside, when like Coop or like fucking Matt Damon are talking, they're recorded over that because you just can't hear them for shit. Now on to something else. My favorite thing about this movie, Matt Damon was not listed in the credits. Like for the promotion of this movie, I saw this movie opening night. It's a huge surprise that Matt Damon's in this movie. It's a giant Easter egg. Honestly, it was cool as fuck. I just did not expect that at all.
Also a piece of shit in the movie.
Just,
we'll get into that.
Yeah. All right. Let's get in our takes. You want to start off?
That's everything? Okay, yeah. I'm going to start with the stuff I liked. I don't want to just immediately start tearing it down.
Okay.
Matthew McConaughey is just amazing in this movie.
Oh yeah,
just
insane.
Very, very good.
Yeah,
not like in a he's fun, he's playing Matt way. Like
no.
This is the one movie I say you could point to and be like, no, he's not Matthew McConaughey the way we think of Matthew McConaughey. He's just a great actor.
This was in like 2014 when like the McConaissance or whatever they called it happened, where people were like, no, Matthew McConaughey is a serious actor. He went and did Dallas Buyers Club. He did this movie and he won Oscars and shit.
Yeah,
and it's just. This movie made me get to like the point where I was like about to cry so many fucking times just because this dude is like, my God, the emotion he conveys.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of the things I like. It's harder. It's easy to bitch. It's harder to just list the things I like.
Also, you gotta consider
it's
like
beautiful.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
My God, I don't know about all that camera mumbo jumbo, but there's not one scene in this to compare it to a different space movie. If anybody saw Ad Astra year before we went into this
fresh hell,
Ad Astra is another space movie that's mostly inside of one spaceship, and then it involves going onto planets a couple times. Very similar plot lines to an extent.
Yeah,
Ad Astra is the ugliest, dumbest fucking movie. I fucking hate it. The whole thing's orange. It's just a stupid shit.
All right, reel it back in. And if you let him go on Ad Astra, the next 20 minutes are gone from the podcast.
This was the exact opposite of it, and it felt therapeutic to get to watch and be like, this is what it could have been. This was interesting and nifty.
Like every fucking frame of this movie could be a PC background.
Yeah,
it's just fuck me, dude. Like I remember when I first watched it, I saw it in IMAX, and I was like, just in awe. Like it was one of those things where it was like Christopher Nolan, like it started being, this is a dorky thing to say, but like it didn't feel like a movie. It felt like I was like it felt like closer to like being like on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
or like
I could
VR.
see that.
Like if there was like 4D shit in this movie that like blew air at me, I'd be like, oh, this is perfect.
Your ankles get wet in the water world.
Yeah,
it's really cold when you go to the ice world.
It's just so fucking cool, and it's just like there's so many things like that. Whenever they go through like the black hole at first, and they go like you see the 3 fucking planets, and they go to the water world and shit, and it's just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
so much to love.
And the creativity to write those worlds is like really cool.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I mean, how many fucking different versions of worlds can you have?
Yeah.
Like
it felt, and this is a dorky thing to say again, but like it felt like if Christopher Nolan made a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
I was
but new.
Yeah, like it felt like fresh, and then like, cause like Matthew McConaughey's like running through these like planets that are all like super unique and cool looking, and like it still looks real, and he has like a droid with him, but the droid like makes sense because it's like blocky and like a giant box thing. It's just cool as fuck. I don't know.
It makes sense because it's a government droid, and instead of being like, oh, this is gonna look cool, it looks like something the government would make.
Yeah,
it's a giant rectangle that rolls around, and you're like, okay.
This filing cabinet's just following around Matthew McConaughey, like giving like AI comedy to him. It's so good. But
and I think every character, I'm just going to keep saying nice stuff. Every character in this, I understand. Like, when they get into arguments, I'm like, I see both sides. These are well-written, rounded characters. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
Even Matt Damon, who's the biggest piece of shit in the fucking universe, just sacrifices the human race to have a friend.
Yeah.
Even him, I'm like, I get it. He was there for how many years?
Like
he went
15
fucking crazy.
Years.
Like,
yeah. I don't know. It's
the fact he didn't just blow his brains out. Couldn't be me, but I get it.
Yeah, the only F-bomb in this movie, it is still the most well-utilized fuck I've seen in a movie, is Matthew McConaughey like tackles Matt Damon. They're like Matt Damon's like, I'm sacrificing humanity. You don't know what I've been through. And then Matthew McConaughey is just like, you fucking coward.
Yeah.
That's all he gives him. It's fucking awesome.
It does make me sad that Matt Damon was able to beat up Matthew McConaughey.
Well, yeah, but
it made sense for the plot and it worked well. But I was like, no, I want to see Matt beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, it was very like whenever he's like trying to like hold him down, and be like, you have to stop, and then he like fucking busts his helmet open, and I was like, man, just bring out your dragon killing axe, cut him in half, Matt. Come on.
Okay, what do you got?
For things I love about this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
And then we only have 5 minutes left, so don't go too long.
Front to Back's the best movie I've ever seen. No, but
you said that about a lot of fucking movies. Every time we finish a movie, Ramzi either goes, or he goes, that's the best fucking movie I've ever seen.
Every time my family hates that. Like, yeah, it's my favorite movie of all time. And they're like, another one? I think that just the front to back of this movie, like, I don't know. The beginning of this movie drags a tiny bit, but as soon as it gets going, it's fucking like pedal to the floor.
See, I disagree. This movie's 3 hours long, so
yeah.
I don't blame you if you didn't watch it before this review. But how did you not watch it when it came out? It's pretty big. But I don't think the beginning's where it drags. I have no problem with the entire time spent on Earth because it develops Matt's character, even though he doesn't give a fuck about his son. But it develops the bond between him and his daughter, and like develops Matt, and you're like, oh, he's a farmer and super smart. All of the things that are going on. My problem is once they're on the ship, there's one dude that dies in the water world. Yeah, and he just could have not been there. And they could have never gone to the water world, and I wouldn't have fucking cared.
But no, but that was like part of the thing. Like it built like the tension between like the crewmates, especially him and like Anne Hathaway. Like it was part of the thing because you have to get it to a point where Murph is older, and like Murph has given up on her dad, and then when they come back, the consequences of our people that are in the ship are like, this is getting so dorky.
Hey, you got a good argument here.
Yeah, but they are less because like we lost a person, but whenever they get back to the ship, they realize they didn't just lose a person, they lost their families. Matthew McConaughey's daughter's an old woman next time he sees her. Yeah. So suck it. Suck a dick.
Okay, then let me throw another one at you. I'm just gonna throw shit at the board and see how well you can dodge these Interstellar criticisms. When they go to the water world, they leave the black guy up on the ship. Yeah. And then they go back to him, and it's supposed to be that he's like 12 years older. Yeah. He doesn't look that much older.
Well, because he went through the hypersleep. It doesn't age you.
You don't age when you're in the hypersleep?
I also think that's stupid, and I don't think scientifically that works, but apparently it does.
Explain that very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else you got, pussy?
God damn. Yeah, you're just ready with the shit. The movie's too long. I'm not going to give you you can't defend this now.
The movie needs an intermission. There's a perfect split point of this movie where whenever they got back from the water world and they found out that dude had been up there for 12 years, we should have paused it, went and had dinner, and came back and finished it. It would have been perfect.
Would you like them to do that in theaters?
Yeah, 100%.
I would too.
Intermissions need to come back. You're not allowed to take 3 hours of my life.
Yeah. People have phones to check. I bet people would spend less time texting in movie theaters if you gave them like the middle time to be like, go deal with your bullshit now.
I don't know. Kids are stupid.
That's fair. People will ruin it no matter what you give them.
I think in the grand scheme of things, I love the characters too. Like you said, characters are great. Yeah. Cinematography's great. It hits all the perfect points where it's like cool sci-fi stuff, and then it brings it back to being about family and shit. Love it. What do you got?
You're done for.
What do you got?
The audio is fucking
That's
garbage.
Not a story thing. I get
this isn't about the story. It's about the movie.
Okay.
You can't hear a fucking word said unless you turn your TV to the max. And then you do that and you can hear everything and you're like, this is an okay movie. Yep. And then every 10 minutes something goes wrong and it just goes at you. And you have to turn your TV all the way down again. Yeah. And wait again. Rinse and repeat the whole movie.
I would actually like to retroactively take 5 points off of my score. Not only because that happened, but because recently people were complaining about not being able to hear shit in Tenet. And Christopher Nolan went, yeah, who fucking cares? No one cares about audio. Explosions sound good.
You'd be a director and have that take. Just be like, half of the part of the movie doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what, I have an argument for it. It sucks, but it's an argument. Boy, okay. 1, subtitles exist, so suck it. 2, the big fucking bassy juicy parts sound so fucking good, and I don't think from like an engineering standpoint you can get to that point without other parts sounding like shit. And the other part of it is whenever you get past those points and there's the shots in space that are dead silent, that's fucking gold in a movie theater. Yeah, there's nothing better than that. That's all I
but
got.
Just make the voices loud.
Oh yeah.
I don't care about the technical bullshit. Just make the voices louder. That's all I want.
Yeah, you're
Dub
right.
over everything.
It's gonna sound, but you have to ADR everything then.
Yeah,
I guess.
do it and make it sound nicer, and then I'll like the movie more.
Okay.
Make it work. Fix it.
You know what,
They
ladies and
invented
gentlemen, he's right. Interstellar, a 73.
They invented IMAX cameras. They can invent a way to make the voices sound reasonable.
That's true. Audio has just really not. This is getting boring, but audio has not progressed a lot in the past 10 years.
Okay, I've got an exciting one to end on really
right.
quick. That's both movies are done.
Okay.
Matthew McConaughey announced 2 days ago that he may run for governor of Texas.
Now, I've said in the past multiple times we should never vote for famous people. We should vote for people who want the office. But I got to be honest with you, taking that stupid take, throwing it in the trash. I'm voting for Matthew McConaughey for governor, and then I'm going to vote for him when he runs for fucking president. I don't give a shit who's on the ticket.
So the best response I've had to anybody reading that article, first of all, he just said it in an interview. It's very unlikely it actually becomes anything.
Thanks for ruining the high I'm on right now.
But the best thing I heard was please don't, because we like Matthew McConaughey so much and no one wants to hear his shitty politics. Because he's already stated that he would run as a centrist. He feels there's too much divide between the left and the right and that we need to come together. Got a lot
You know what brings people together? Healthcare.
Being able to feed your kids, all of that good stuff. But I will say, as a political junkie that lives in this state, about to say the shitty state, only politics wise.
Yeah.
Love the cities here.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the only person that could beat Greg Abbott. So I hope he fucking does it.
Yeah.
I hope he does it in 2022 and we get Matthew McConaughey as our governor. California got Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
We could have McConaughey.
That's true. Goddamn. I was born in California, so I willed that to happen. So now that I'm in Texas, maybe if I have a son here, he can will Matthew McConaughey. He's my bloodline is just willing celebrity governors. All right.
That being said, Matt, if this happens, go the exact way as Arnold. Become governor, run that for a while, and then fuck off. You don't need to do anything else.
I completely agree. And that's why Interstellar is the best movie of all time.
Yes, without a doubt.
Oh, man. Well, so wraps up our monthly movie review for November.
With our favorite actor we've done so far.
100%. 100%. Now, Jesse, what's next week?
Next week we are going to have a From the Ground Up.
Ooh, we're going to reveal what it's about?
No. Fuck them.
We're going to make it up 20 minutes before we start recording.
Yeah, I did that just in case we switched the topic at the last
That's really a good point.
But you guys, have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks for listening. This episode comes out on Tuesday.
Have a great Wednesday.